On today's Solo Sunday news, multiple title changes take place at NXT Halloween Havoc. There's new details on pay for those WWE and TNA crossover talents. A former WWE star appears on AEW Collision, and WWE once again forces AEW to move an event. Hello and welcome to WhatCulture Wrestling, the Solo Sunday news. Myself, Andrew Pollard. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. I hope your weekend is going as well as possible. Well, I enjoyed a very strong Wrexham performance away at Middlesbrough yesterday. That was left a little frustrated by the UFC 321 main event, but I'll say no more about that for fear of spoilers. Anyways, you're not here to hear me talk about football or MMA, it is wrestling. Yes, and starting things off with NXT Halloween Havoc, where not one, not two, but three titles changed hands in back-to-back-to-back matches. Back-to-back-to-back, ole ole, that'd be my Wrexham promotions coming out there. Right, back on track. The first title change, that saw Blake Monroe, the former Mariah May, become the new NXT Women's North American Champion. That is quite a mouthful, defeating Zarya. Of course, this was the match that came about following the injury to Sol Ruka. Sol was originally set to defend the belt here against Blake Monroe. Instead, Zarya took Sol's place, and the finish came when Blake knocked over Sol Ruka's crutch. Zarya went to check on her, which allowed Blake Monroe to hit the glamour shot DDT on the outside. Then she rolled Zarya back in, hit another glamour shot to get the 1, 2, 3, uno, dos, tres. And with that, Blake Monroe is your new NXT Women's North American Champion, marking a first slice of WWE Gold for a former AEW Women's Champion. Now, the next matchup, that was JC Jane. The very next match defended the NXT Women's Championship against Tatum Paxley, with Tatum, the perennial underdog, getting the somewhat surprise win here, becoming the new NXT Women's Champion after a distraction from Izzy Dane, which allowed Tatum to hit the cycle trap for the win. I say it was a distraction. It was, I guess, well, Izzy got in the ring with the title, was kind of holding it up there. Vic Joseph is kind of selling as maybe was she going to hit Tatum Paxley with the belt? Instead, Izzy was taken out by JC Jane before she could, make a decision on that, I guess. And that allowed Tatum to hit the cycle trap for the win. A really cool moment, a great reaction for Tatum from the crowd. Just a really likable performer who just always seems to be getting better. I'm not saying she's the best wrestler in the world, but every time you see Tatum Paxley, she gets better, and the reaction is there for her. And she's been there a little while now, so it's nice to see her get some recognition. And you kind of felt like if she didn't win here at Halloween Havoc, then is she ever going to win any sort of gold? But she is the new NXT Women's Champion. And up next, after that match, a third consecutive title change. So the next match saw Dark State defeat the Hardys to regain the NXT Tag Team titles. To be precise, it was Dion Lennox coming off a ladder in the ring to put Jeff Hardy through a table with a Doomsday Device for the win. Now, this was a broken rules match, the Broken Hardys. So, I mean, that rule basically just meant that you could have all four of Dark State get involved at times. And it kind of feels a little, I don't know, off. I mean, fans complained about how NXT stars were winning TNA gold. That was Trick Williams, there was JC Jane, there was Kalani Jordan as well at the moment as the Knockouts champion. But people were saying that, no TNA stars winning NXT gold. It was maybe a little bit, unbalanced. So it was a way to bring a little more balance to the force. The Hardys, who, I mean, let's face it, they feel like WWE stars anyway still. But they won the NXT Tag Team titles at Showdown earlier this month, only to lose them 3 weeks later, having only defended them once. And I say defended, that defense came at Bound for Glory in that tables match against the Dudleys retirement match. A match that was already announced. It was for the TNA tag titles, and it's just like, well, the Hardys they've won the NXT belts now as well. We'll just put them on the line as well, just because. But either way, it looks like Leon Slater and Javon Evans may be up next for Dark State. If not directly next, at least somewhere down the line. I mean, they're such a fun team. Already have such really fun chemistry together, man. I know it's like really, really early days. What, like 2 matches together? Maybe 3. And it's just that kind of like that frantic, energetic babyface team that just throughout history. I mean, you go back to like the Rock and Roll Express, even, dare I say, but like the Hardys or Paul London and Brian Kendrick, such an underrated, fun team. Fraxium as well, are very much in that mold. But yes, Leon Slater and Javon were in action, opening up Halloween Havoc by getting a win over Mr. Iguana and the new LA Parker. It was Leon Slater getting the win here with his absolutely daft Leon. Daft. His 450 swanton, just one of the most impressive finishing moves in the game this day. And while you're here as well, you can check out our recent interview with Leon, talking a whole bunch of fun topics, including a possible proper tag team run with Javon Evans. There we go. That is elsewhere on the channel. Check it out. Lovely dude is Leon Slater. In the other Halloween Havoc matches, just to quickly cover them, Ethan Page retained the North American title against P.O. Del Dr. Wagner Jr. Really good match, man. Really fun match. And then my boy, my close personal friend, Absolute Ricky Saints, defeated Trick Williams in the main event to keep hold of the NXT Championship as the Absolute era continues. And what's also continuing, of course, is the working relationship between WWE, that's easy for me to say, WWE and TNA. And on that front, there's now some new details on how it works with pay for talents involved in that. This comes from Fightful Select, who notes that TNA talents are paid for each NXT appearance, and that pay varies depending on what you're used for. I mean, the lowest rate is if you're brought in but not actually used. Then it goes up a little bit if you compete, and then being more money again if you're in the main event. Fairly standard, I guess. But on the other hand of that, several NXT stars told Fightful that they have not been paid any extra for their TNA appearances. Now, Fightful couldn't confirm that this is 100% the case across the board for all NXT talents, but it's certainly the case for the talents that they've spoken to. I mean, for me, the first thing that comes to mind with this is, it's just, I think of poor Rich Holland, man. I mean, Rich Holland got injured in a TNA match against Moose, which was a massive blow, but not getting paid extra for that match. Working for a different company in TNA, you get injured, a major injury that's you're going to be out of action for, 6-7 months, I believe, something like that. And then you're being told when your contract is up in November, you're being let go by WWE. And all of that after taking a $200,000 per year pay cut when you signed your last WWE deal, which is, man, best of luck to Rich on his, Luke Menzies, on his... his recovery there with that awful situation. But anyway, from WWE and TNA to a former WWE star who's turned up in AEW. Yes, last night's Collision saw an appearance from Nixon Newell, the former Tegan Knox. Knoxie was one of those released by WWE last November. That was back in action on the Indies in March, first in the UK, then back in the States. And as for Collision, there was a backstage interview with Anna Jay and Tay Mello, which was interrupted by Nixon Newell and Miranda Elise, who has previously wrestled for Ring of Honor, amongst other places. It wasn't anything of major note. It was just Nixon and Elise putting TJ on notice for something somewhere. But for me, I'm always rooting for Nixon Newell, man. Part of it is because she's a fellow Welshie, which is nicely summed up when she said hello to Tay Mello both in NXT at the same time back in the day. It was just a very Welsh, how's it been? Might as well have been but how's it going? Or sure, my teen yawn. Also, Nixon, busting out Welsh on the Soul Sunday News. Crazy times, man. Also, Nixon Newell, of course, a former WCPW, WhatCulture Pro Wrestling, and Defiant standout, a former WCPW Women's Champion. Some brutal wars back in the day with Bea Priestley. Some of the most brutal matches in the company's history. Either way, Nixon Newell and Miranda Elise look like another team in the mix as AEW looks to put focus on its ever-expanding women's tag division. Obviously, they're not in the tournament for the women's tag titles, but Tay Mello accepted Nixon and Elise's challenge. Maybe we get that match on this week's Dynamite and Collision at some point, who knows? But yeah, I'm all for that. And then one final story for today, AEW has moved another of its upcoming events in order to avoid going head-to-head with WWE. Now, this isn't a case of counter-programming. For counter-programming, that's say, AEW's doing this show and WWE just goes, right, we're going to do one on that show just to mess with you. No, this is one of those where it's more a case of Collision was going to be taking place on the same day as Survivor Series this year. Now, Warner Brothers Discovery press release came out about November programming, and that's confirmed that, yes, rather than run up against the Survivor Series on Saturday, 29th November, Collision is going to be brought forward by a couple of days to the Thursday before that, Thursday the 27th of November. Thanksgiving, no less. So I'd imagine some sort of Thanksgiving theme for that as well. And obviously Dynamite is the day before. I believe, actually, thinking about it, would that be the Dynamite and Collision after Full Gear? I think so. And you know what? I've never done Thanksgiving, but I might go all in on the Thanksgiving meal this year because turkey is always a good time. In fact, there's someone with zero experience of a Thanksgiving dinner. Our US watchers, let me know what are the best essentials for one of those dinners. I'm thinking mashed potato. Thinking mashed potatoes a must, which is always, I'm always here for some mashed potato, man. A bit of cheese, some Stilton maybe, a bit of horseradish. But then I'm a regular bodger and badger when it comes to that stuff, which is a very, very niche reference to be pulling out here. Did not expect to be pulling out on a Sunday morning. But anyways, Collision moved to Thanksgiving, which is a very sensible move. When Collision ran up against the Royal Rumble earlier this year, it did a dreadful number, less than 200,000. I think it was 197,000 viewers. I did see the number earlier today, which is bad, even by Collision standards. And with that, be sure to check out the other excellent video that's floating around here somewhere. I'm off to watch the rest of UFC 321. After doing a little bit of work, of course, this has been WhatCulture Wrestling, the solo Sunday news. Myself, Andrew Ballard. Be well, stay safe, and I will see you soon.